Okay, let's get started. Now we are discussing what is Adynaton. Adynaton is a literary device similar to a hyperbole. It's an exaggeration that stretches to the absolute extreme. The performed scenario is impossible. For example, the classical edge. When pigs fly, it's an example of Adynaton because it's present and impossible of highly imparable scenario. This device is used when a writer makes a comparison that's completely impossible or unfeasible. This exaggeration is most commonly used when the writer is trying to draw attention to something. It's usually applied for emphasis. There are other variants as the with hyperbole, in which it's used for the simple joy and pleasure of the words. A reader can find these examples most easily within children literature. The ideal comes from the Greek ideon, means impractical or impossible. Okay, example of ideals in literatures. Macbeth by William Shakespeare. It's often the case when seeking out the most powerful example of any literary device that a reader should turn to Shakespeare. Within his work, the bard used language in ways that have been admired for centuries. There are several some series and some comedic examples of Adynaton with his dramatic works. For instance, take this quote from Macbeth. Will our great Neptune's oceans wash this blood clean from my hand? The Bible Matthew. Another great example of the works of William Shakespeare come in Act 1, Scene 2 of Henry Ivy, Part. Prince, your master, whose chin is not yet flashed, I will soon have a beard grow in the palm of my hand. Then he shall get one of his cheek, and yet he will not stick to say his face is a face royal. The Bible Matthew. There is a very humorous and successful example identified in the second line of the excerpt. The speaker, one of Shakespeare's best known comic characters, Foster, is addressing a page. Falstaff is making fun of the page masters. He teases him from a distance about his youth and inability to grow a beard. This suggests that he is not manly enough to do so. The very famous line from this page of the Bible is a memorable and successful example of this literary technique. Take a look at the line below. It's easier from a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Here the speaker suggests that it is completely impossible for a rich man to enter into heaven. It's compared through the use of Adynaton to camel going through the head of a needle. These ridiculous conceptions emphasize the importance in the context of Christianity to rid oneself of wealth if one seeks out the kingdom of God. As I walked out one evening by H.W. Adynaton. In this poem, the poet expresses his love for the intent listener. Of this line, he addresses her, calling her dear and using an example of Adynaton to show her how much. Take a look at his excerpt from the poem. In this passage, the he tells her that he loves her till the continents of China and Africa come together and the river jump over the mountain. These, along with several other lines from this X, are complete impossibilities. Therefore, the listener should know there is nothing that would keep him from loving her. Okay, to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.